You know, there's nothing quite like coming home after a long day at Palmyra High School, getting done all your work and realizing you have to go home and do more work. And being a student teacher, I do a lot of work. I do a lot more work than you think I actually do. And since next week I'm starting to pick up third period geometry, I really have to start planning out my time better and really utilizing as much time as I can to do as much planning and work as I possibly can. So here's a situation involving systems of linear inequalities, because we talked about this today. So here's my situation. It's now nighttime, and I'm tired after school. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time doing work, but I need to start planning for both algebra and geometry for next week. So here's my goals. Here's what I want to do. I want to spend no more than 3 hours planning for both algebra and geometry. So that's my first goal. Second is I want to spend at least 45 minutes planning for your class, algebra. And last is I want to spend less than an hour and a half planning for geometry for next week. So why don't you take a minute right now and write a systems of inequalities to represent my current situation. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
All right, so hopefully by now you've found a solution to my problem or you're on your way. So I want to go over it with you. So we first stated that I wanted to spend no more, I believe was the word I used, than 3 hours on planning both geometry and algebra. So when we map that out, well, not really map it out, but write it as a linear inequality, we get g plus a is less than or equal to 3. And then I solved for a, because I used a as my y-axis on my graph, and got a is less than or equal to negative g plus 3. So this is boxed in green, so I'm going to graph it in green. So I'm going to start my y-intercept at positive 3. And I'm going to go down 1 and over 1 because we have a slope of negative 1. So down 1, over 1, down 1, over 1. And I'll even go up 1 over 1, even though I don't really have a line over there. All right, so then we're going to make this a solid line because we have a less than or equal to symbol. I'm doing the best I can without a ruler. All right, maybe next time I'll find a ruler. So the next thing I said was I wanted to spend at least 45 minutes on algebra. Well, we know that 45 minutes is 3/4 of an hour. So the equation I have here is a is greater than or equal to 0.75. All right, so we're going to graph that. So I'm going to look for 0.75 on my a-axis, which is typically what we would call y. I'm going to draw a horizontal line there. Now, something I should have done beforehand, learned from my mistake, is shaded. So when we have the line, our original line, we need to shade below the line because it was a less than or equal to symbol. So I'm going to shade this line this way. Great. I'll add a few more in just to make sure we're really clear on what's going on. All right. So that is all the solutions for my first equation. Now, we said we wanted to spend at least 45 minutes or 3/4 of an hour on algebra. So that would be everything above this blue line. So I will shade this with horizontal lines, light horizontal lines. Now it's probably getting hard to see the graph, but bear with me. I'll redo this guy in a little darker blue. And I'll redo this guy in a little darker green. All right, so now we would see if we stopped here, the only solutions we would have would be between this and this in this region, because this is the only part that has shared shading, right? Great. So, and then we said, the last requirement I had was I wanted to spend less than an hour and a half on geometry. So I'm going to look for where my G values are all 1.5. It looks to be right around here, between 1 and 2, if you can still see them. And this time it's going to be a dashed line, because I don't want to go any more than that. I want to do less than that, so I'm going to use a dashed line. It's less than. So here we go, dashed line. At G is 1.5. Now we're going to shade to the left because we want things that are less than that. And if you're still unsure where to shade there, you could definitely use 0, 0 as a point, or 0 as a point. So if 0 is less than 1.5, right? So we're going to shade that direction, this direction. So, and I'll do these vertically, very lightly. Now, this might not be the world's greatest example, but if you look very closely, the only section in here that has all three types of shading is this triangle right in here, right? Because we got shading coming vertically from my time just on algebra, coming, this way from geometry, and then from this line here. So any solution I'm going to have is going to be within this mark here. So that's my solution.